Business in the City, the podcast of entrepreneurs without borders.
Welcome to this podcast. I'm very happy to welcome you to meet amazing women, amazing ladies who dare changing lives, reinventing themselves, and quit the corporate world to the entrepreneurial world. It's not always easy for everyone, so I'm happy to welcome guests who give the will, show the strength to just move to a new life, the one that is probably more linked to yourself and suited to your inner needs. So thank you so much, Marina, for being my first guest in this podcast. So I'm very happy to welcome you. And it's funny because you live in a city that I know quite well, which is Barcelona. And I would like you, first of all, to tell us what brought you there, where you come from, and maybe a little word on Barcelona. Because to some people who know me, I come from Catalonia, and it's fantastic to have a little vibe from my homeland. So it's great to have you. And now your turn to explain us where you come from and why you're there.
Thank you very much, Emily, first of all, for inviting me to be your first guest. I'm really honored because I think this podcast that you are creating now will have a great future, because your mission and what you explained to me, what your podcast is about, it's really a thing that many people need now in our world. As for me, yes, you are totally right. I live in Barcelona now, and I came here exactly 19 years ago because I met a man who became my husband, and he is Catalonian as well. So you live in the French part of Catalonia, and I live in the Spanish part of Catalonia. We have something definitely in common. I'm originally from Russia, but I left my country 20 years ago, and I've been living in Mexico, United States, United Kingdom, Germany, Canada. So now Spain is my sixth country where I reside, where I do my business, where I have my family. So I'm really excited about living here in Barcelona because it's a nice city with a great international vibe, with a nice climate, nice food. So it's the right place, I think, to live if you really like and enjoy all those things.
There's a great vibe there. I strongly advise our audience to, of course, go there and even make a living, because that's fantastic. It's very sunny the whole year, and it's great. Can you tell us, Marina, how, first of all, why did you quit your job a few years back? And what made you make the shift to this new entrepreneurial life?
Well, actually, my transition from corporate to entrepreneurial life was forced, I can say like this, because I lost my job like in a blink of an eye when there was a tragedy happened in the company. The owner of the company died, and I became jobless. So in a couple of weeks, I was contacted by a competitor who invited me to work for them. I started as an external advisor, as a freelancer, but I was trying to look actually for the job in the corporate world here in Barcelona. In those times, I had a little child, and I began to receive refusals. I can tell you that after 20 years in the corporate, I was so confident that I would open any door and I will be accepted.
Of course, after 20 years.
Because I had so many skills. And my last corporate job I was a business development director with 11 years of experience in the same place, with nice records that showed my professionalism. But unfortunately, I couldn't actually find the job that I liked. Yes, I had some offers, but it was not what I would like to do, and it was not the money that I would like to get.
But weren't satisfied with what was brought.
Yes, absolutely. And then the jobs that I would love to get, either I got refused because I had a small child and they were trying to tell me that I will not be able to travel, even though I was able. So there were different things, I think it was a mixture of different things that happened. And how I became an entrepreneur, actually, it was also by accident, because I was feeling overwhelmed with negative emotions and despair because I couldn't find the job, and I was pretty sure I was able to do that. And my hobby is making journals. I love a lot journaling and writing, so it's my way of self-reflection, of putting my thoughts together over there. And I make journals, leather journals for myself. And I posted one of them on social media, sharing that I made this journal, and it was saying on the first page, be bold, be italic, but never regular. So I was trying to inspire myself with some phrases that I was putting for my journals. And then a friend of mine asked me, can you make one for me? Then another friend reached out and told me, I also want a journal like this. And I had an idea, why not to try and convert my hobby actually in a business. I'm pretty sure I would never have done that if I were to continue in the corporate life.
So tell us, were you able to make a living out of it? Because it's great to have an idea. It's great to find a first client, but how do you make it a business, a true business?
Absolutely. I was able to make a living out of that. I can tell you that just in 2 months, I already had 2 corporate orders because it was pre-Christmas time. And they came from my circle, from people who knew me. And they ordered those journals as gifts, Christmas gifts for their VIP clients. And then I went on social media. For me, it was actually a huge shift because I was working in the financial industry, in the financial services, and I'm speaking back about 2015. So we were not on social media. I've never had any account on social media, just LinkedIn, where I had my CV, and that's all.
So you went from finance to journals with no idea what was social media or marketing, and still you managed to make a living out of your passion. And what I want to say is, anybody who has an idea or many ideas, just start with the first one, try to implement it, and whatever it is, you just need to start acting. Stop thinking too much.
Absolutely. I'm totally agree with you. I'm an action person. And at some moments, I have a friend who is also a coach, because now I'm a coach and a business development consultant.
So let us tell our audience that you ended this first business, which was actually lucrative, but you preferred involving yourself and commit yourself to coaching now. So now you have another business, a new one.
Yes, and I will tell you how it happened, because it happened. There was a logical sequence of events that brought me actually to that. So maybe I was lucky when I started my handmade business that I converted out from my hobby, because I had a background in business development and marketing in banking and financial services. I think this was my definitely huge advantage, because even though I didn't know how to use social media, I didn't know how to market creative business, but I was applying my knowledge from my previous job when I was growing business for the financial services company and when I was managing projects for banks,
So also this little thing that made you be better at social media. And I want you to tell us, what is this thing that made a difference to sell your service? What helped you the most selling services?
The first thing was that I overcame all my fears and all my doubts, and I finally did it. Because I remember absolutely well my first time when I was trying to record a story for Instagram, and it took me around 4 hours to record 1 minute story, 4 stories of 15 seconds.
Very usual at the beginning.
Yes. But, finally I got mad at myself and I just pushed publish, and I forgot about this. But I was really sweating all those 4 hours when I was trying to do my best, because I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like how I sound. I was speaking a foreign language and I was making mistakes. And, but finally I did that. And, the next day I saw that nothing awful happened. And I challenged myself. I actually started to do these videos constantly and record and speak in front of the audience. And the huge difference, what made my handmade business different in those times, was that I put myself out there as the soul, as the hands, as the mind, the brain of the business. I was there in front of the camera explaining to people what I was making, why this journal looks like that, what paper I was
showing your behind the scenes,
absolute
life, your personal life, daring, showing yourself and speaking up. So would it be the best advice you would give us selling services? I mean, for yourself and actually, what helps you the most is social media, obviously. And what would be the best advice you would say to others? Would it be like, go out there, don't be afraid too much of how people would look at us?
Maybe not exactly. I want to mention one thing first, because you said about showing personal life. I didn't show that much my personal life. And actually, I'm not showing on social media my personal life. But I show those moments that help people understand who I am as a person and as a professional. My values, my interests, something maybe traveling because it's one of my passions, sports because it's also one of my passions. But I am not showing everything about your personal life. And actually, you don't need to do that. And the best advice that I can give you is first, you need to get clarity about yourself, who you are, before going on social media, because this is a huge mistake I think that many entrepreneurs make. And then they don't see results and they quit. They just jump into the social media, posting randomly, chaotically something, but they don't have a strategy and they don't have a deep understanding of themselves, of who they are actually, and what they want to translate to the world and what message they have. And it doesn't matter if you sell services or you sell products. If you're an entrepreneur and a business owner, so you have your promise to the world with what you do.
Yes, you need to know your goals. You need to know where you want to go. You need to have a 10 years vision. Where do you want to go? And I know it's hard, but you have something in your guts that tells you, I want to get there at some point. Just something I really like. And just go little by little, but be sure the way you're taking is close to yourself and to your values. I talk a lot about values because I do believe values are so important. You cannot be somebody you're not really within yourself. Like, don't try to copy. Don't try to be something else. I think that's so important. This podcast tends to be a little bit short. So I'd like you to tell us, is there anyone that who actually help you jump to this other side, like somebody you admire, a figure that has actually led you to change your career or inspires you in an everyday life?
Yeah, it's my mom, because she owned her own business. She's a designer and she was making clothes. Now she's retired already. And I always admired her resilience, her leadership skills, and how she was running her business and how she was treating her clients, how she was treating her team. That's why I thought that if my mom could do that brilliantly, then definitely she's a great example to follow, and I can do the same. I can have my own business and do not depend on 9 to 5, all my life. That's why.
Why not yourself? Absolutely. Why not yourself? Get inspired of people. Look around yourself and see the amazing people that are doing something different and unique, and they're going to this other side. If you're a little bit scared, just look at people and try to be surrounded by those people who actually have another mindset and will give you the will to change a little bit your life. Can you share with us the most difficult moment you experienced in your entrepreneurial life and how you overcome it? And also, I would like to ask you the contrary, the best moment you lived as an entrepreneur.
Yes, absolutely. The thing that I would like also to mention, as you said before, so handmade business. It's not my business now because at first I was making journals. Then I was also teaching people how to make journals. And then those people who learned how to make journals, they started to ask me, how do we sell them now? That's how I transitioned to a different theme. Actually, I returned to what I have been doing all my life, to business development, marketing. And I started to teach people how to launch and run and grow their creative businesses. I have a blog in Spanish with more than 3 million visits. I have a big following in Spanish.
Now I'm a lot, and we put all the links, of course, on the channels.
Right, and now I am focusing to spread my message to the international audience, doing that in English, and mostly focusing on personal brand, because personal brand is what actually helped me grow all my businesses. It's putting myself out there, as I mentioned before. About the most difficult things, I think for both businesses that I tried, that I was running, for handmade and for the coaching and consulting business that I'm in now, it was, first of all, the fear of criticism that would stop me at some point, and that's why I started even my business in Spanish, because all my surrounding is people with whom I work, they are English speaking or Russian speaking. And making journals after being 20 years in banking and finance in the corporate world and ending my corporate career as a business development director, it was a huge downshifting for me as I took it and as people were trying to show me that. And because of this fear of constantly listening to that criticism, I switched to Spanish, which was not my business language, but I mastered it a lot. So now it's my third business language. And this was my fear, what people would say about me. And then also an imposter syndrome, and I think many women actually have these two things, fearing what others will say about them, and then the imposter syndrome, thinking they are not enough, thinking that they don't have enough experience, they don't know enough. That's why
What should they do? What should they do to overcome this fear?
Regarding the imposter syndrome, I can tell you that the best thing that I recommend and that we do with my clients is to sit out there and make the list of, as I call them, powerful facts. All those accomplishments, achievements, what you've done, some difficult moments that you overcame. And it's not only about your professional life, it's also about your personal life. Because when we speak about a personal brand, about a brand of an entrepreneur, it's all together. It's not only professional. It's also something personal that helps you to stand out also. Your resilience, your empathy, some achievements that you have, from personal achievements. It's the best thing to make the list and then to have this list always in front of you when in the moments of doubting yourself, you think you are not enough, just look at what you have accomplished, of what you have done.
I really like this tip. I do like it. I think it's very, very interesting. Can you tell us your best moment as an entrepreneur? Something that you will remember forever that happened to you?
Yes, absolutely. The best moments until now, for now, because I'm pretty sure and I'm going towards that, to having more bright moments in my entrepreneurial career. But the best moment I consider my return to the stage and speaking in front of the large audience. And it happened in 2019 when I was invited to speak at the global conference for coaches organized by the International Coaching Federation, where I exactly shared my success path, how I gained clients for my coaching business and how I was able to grow as a coach. And it was that joy when I was speaking again in front of people, because I used to speak before for audience in the financial industry. And then it was for me standing for myself, for my own business in front of those people, sharing my tips. And there was a very beautiful moment because I was definitely nervous. I had a break of several years, and that imposter syndrome and the new industry I was building my business in. And when I was going to speak, I was putting myself into the position that I speak from the position of love to people, to love and respect to all those people who would come to listen to my workshop, who would come to participate, and not from the position of fear again, because normally I will always scared what people will think, if I will do it in the right way or not, if I make mistakes, whatever. And I went from the position of love, and there was a lady, we're still in touch with her, who came after my workshop, and she told me, Marina, I noticed there was so much love in what you were telling us. You were speaking with so much love and explaining us those things. And I was like, wow. So my internal thoughts and my intention of how I should speak in front of the people and how I should make my presentation, it really resonated, and people really felt that. And for myself, for now, I consider it like the most joyful moment, and the moment that gives me this, sign that I'm in the right direction.
Yes, and this power to keep going, keep doing what you do. Be good on social media. It's a great way to sell. Dare being yourself. Dare reinventing yourself. At the end of the day, nobody cares who you are, what you do. I mean, it's just they're speaking up. They're showing your professional life, and they're showing basically on social media. Before the end of this podcast, I'd like you to tell us, is there a book that you would recommend, something you would recommend to our audience so they can probably get something out of it?
Absolutely. It was the first book that I read when I was feeling down, when I lost my corporate job and was in the search of what actually I would do. And it's the book of Richard Branson, Screw It, Let's Do It.
Okay, good.
I really love this book, and it gave me that inspiration and those insights that helped me actually to put my thoughts together and decide on launching my own business as well.
That's great. We'll put the link on the channel, and that's a great book. I think it's a very interesting one. Yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you and welcoming you to this podcast, and gave us some interesting tools to just move on and keep doing this wonderful life. So, any words you want to say before we finish?
Yes, I would like just to encourage and to empower all those ladies, or maybe gentlemen also, who will be listening to this podcast, if they are doubting themselves, if they think that they are not enough, but if they have that internal desire to create really greater impact in their professional industry, in what they do, if they want to feel fulfilled with what they do, with their job, I really encourage them to think about putting themselves out there, about growing their personal brand and leveraging the power of their personal brand to really lead the professional life that they want to. It doesn't matter if it's in the corporate or if it's...
Absolutely. We're not here to say don't go to the corporate office. If you're happy there, just be there. I mean, we all have different mindsets, different minds. So, but the only thing is, if you're not happy, if you're bored or not satisfied, just don't stay there just because they're not going to another life.
Business in the City, the podcast of entrepreneurs without borders.